Hey everyone, welcome to the Blue Wave. So I need to make probably one of my last videos I'm ever really going to make about good old Ron DeSantis here, okay? I know I've said this in the past that this is my last video about Ron DeSantis and that his campaign is over and that this is it. And I've pretty much driven the stake through Ron DeSantis' heart throughout the whole summer, okay? When much of the American media and the GOP top thinkers were really throwing their weight behind this guy, and as well as throwing something else, folks, their dollars, okay, in tons and tons of amounts, okay, big donors, big donor money flowing into Ron DeSantis, really seeing him as being the only viable alternative other than against Donald Trump. And what have we seen here in the last few weeks and couple of months? Okay, it's this rise of Nikki Haley, which is one of the things that I didn't quite have on my radar, maybe in the way that I should have, but in some ways I kind of did because the rise of Nikki Haley has been caused by the total failure and utter faceplant of Ron DeSantis. Okay, Nikki Haley would not be anywhere near where she is if Ron DeSantis is not such a terrible candidate. And because there are no other viable alternatives. Okay, Ramaswamy is grifting. Chris Christie is saying honest truths about Donald Trump that disqualify him automatically from the GOP voter base. And who else do we got here? These others, Burgum and Tim Scott, they've all dropped out. They never had any realistic chance. The viewpoint of tons of Republican voters, if you look at the polls, which we're going to get in a second here, has shifted from Ron DeSantis being seen as a viable alternative to a significant amount of those voters pulling off to Nikki Haley. And you got to ask yourself, why is that? Why is that? All right. And I won't get all into it here because you can go and watch some of my past videos I've made, because I've talked about this a lot, about how Ron DeSantis is going to be studied as this is how you do not run a campaign against an incumbent an incumbent candidate. Okay. And Donald Trump is not technically the incumbent, right? But he, for all intents and purposes, he is, because this is a very unique, strange scenario where it is a former president of the United States who's ousted from office, attempting to regain his presidency. I don't think that's ever really happened certainly not in modern American politics. Somebody could point out in the comments if that's ever happened at all, because I'm not 100% sure. But let's look here for 1 second at the real clear politics. Just what we got here. Okay. That's my YouTube thing. Don't look at that. So right now we have the 2024 Iowa Republican presidential caucuses on your screen. And what it says is that Donald Trump is at plus 32 points. Okay, we got Trump at 51, DeSantis 18, Haley 16, Ramaswamy 6, DeSantis 18, Trump 51. Okay, we've heard a lot about how, we have time and elections aren't won in the summer, and we've heard just all of this stuff from Ron DeSantis's people about how there's always been more time, and we're making progress, and we have a foothold on the ground, and yada yada yada. Okay, if this was a close race, if DeSantis was trailing Trump by 5, 10, 15 points, okay, I would maybe say, okay, that's possible. But that's not what we see here. Okay, what we see is it's Trump plus 32. That is your style of campaign has not led to that lead that has been perceived as insurmountable by a lot of Trump supporters and a lot of the, you know, a lot of the popular thinking in America is that that lead has always been seen as, wow, that's Trump has a stranglehold on this nomination. That narrative has never changed. So why not switch up your campaigning? And now what we're seeing in the last few days of the race is DeSantis is starting to suddenly pick up his rhetoric against Trump in a very kind of indirect, kind of not even in the ways that I would be advising him to do it if he was trying to make a dent. But I was like, wow, this guy has been maybe watching some of my videos. Are you guys in here, Ron DeSantis campaign managers? I mean, it really seems like in the last few days you might have been watching some of my videos and trying out maybe some different tactics here, where you kind of don't do this whole "I'm going to take the higher ground" thing. And while Trump is just relentlessly, ruthlessly mocking and just does not shy away at all for a single second to make DeSantis the whole focus of his ire against his whole rabid fan base. So it's just not how you run a campaign. And here we are, okay, January 4th, 2024. Happy New Year, everybody. Trump plus 32. Okay, if you're DeSantis and you're panicking right now, and I've said this before many, many times, and it doesn't really need to be said how over his campaign is. So I won't really say it, because it never really had a start, ladies and gentlemen. DeSantis never really had a chance from out of the gate. For the way that he was talking about things, the way that he was not talking about January 6th, the way that he was holding water for Trump and all these different legal scenarios, and the Alvin Bragg indictment, and all this stuff that we've talked about before on this channel, that it's led to this, basically this catch-22. It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And he needed to be laying the groundwork. And I heard somebody on msnbc earlier say it today, this lawyer guy, I forget his exact name. He was somebody that worked with the Bush campaign in 2004, I believe. And what he was saying is that from Ron DeSantis' perspective, at this point, it's too late to basically do a whole 180 and basically kind of just, throw caution to the wind and totally switch up what he's doing in terms of his rhetoric, and that it would throw off his core support that he may have built up at this point in Iowa, his caucus goers, too much, and kind of freak them out for some reason. And yeah, the guy's got a point, because the thing that you should have been doing if you were Ron DeSantis is you should have been laying this groundwork of how you are going to draw a clear contrast between your policies, Trump's policies, what your type of leadership would be, Trump's leadership, yada, yada, yada. It would all be a bunch of bullshit, because we all know that, DeSantis, was one of the biggest Trump simps in history. But back in his days of trying to ascend to power in the Florida gubernatorial election in 2018. But my point is that you need to have had to have been attacking Trump in very, very direct ways and calling him a loser. insane. Trump is a loser. He lost in 22, lost in 20, lost in 18, lost in 23 now. Now that we've seen the results of the 23 elections and off-year elections that have less national impact but still significantly matter in local terms and local municipalities and city councils and all sorts of different positions throughout the country. But anyways, point him out as a loser. Loss. Okay, loser. That's why you had to do a whole insurrection, because you lost against Joe Biden. You knew you lost. You lied about it because ultimately your policies failed and your COVID handling failed. And yeah, and my COVID handling in Florida was so much better. And I don't know. There's just so many things. And someone you pointed out in the past, hey Max, don't give them too much free advice, because we don't want to I don't want to help out this DeSantis campaign too much at this moment. But the reason I can say this freely on the internet is because I don't think that it matters at this point, because it's too late. It's too late. The election is in 12 days. Trump is up. What is it again? 32 points. Yeah, 32.7 points. And it's a race for second place, okay? It's a race for second place between Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis. And who knows? Ron DeSantis could pull out the second place, but okay, there's no reward for that, okay? New Hampshire is coming up. If you don't win Iowa and New Hampshire, if you're Ron DeSantis, it's okay. You're done. Okay, these bigger states, these more diverse populations, you haven't spent as nearly as much time interfacing or building out a network as you have in Iowa and New Hampshire for throughout all of 2022 and 2023, right? DeSantis says, "Oh, I wasn't running until he announced it." Right? Bullshit. Okay, we all knew that he was positioning to run, and he was basically running a long time before he officially announced it. Okay, so yeah, it's just done. Okay, and it's a race for second place, and it's kind of, it's sad what's become of the Republican Party. I mean, this is the best that you anti-Trump people can do. 32 points. Where's the Republican? Where's the anti-Trump voters? Where's the But again, it's basically a cult at this point. It's a cult of belief, and it's a cult following that Trump has, and he's ascended to deity status. And I was watching a Luke Beasley video earlier. If you guys don't know him, you should go follow him. He does some really good coverage. Luke Beasley was saying that it's kind of unfortunate that because let me preface it by saying this. Luke Beasley does a series called, I think it's called Mocha and MAGA, and he basically talks to Trump supporters, and he was saying how you can lay out all these things and basically lay out fact one shows this, that what Trump said was wrong or untrue or a lie, and this fact proves this thing that Trump said was a lie or wrong, and you can do this for however long you want, and that basically at the end of the conversation, these people basically they end up kind of circling back around to, well, Biden is crooked, or well, I believe something different. I believe Trump is right, or whatever. They basically, it's just where it's like we're in a post-truth era. Not basically. We are in a post-truth era. Truth doesn't matter anymore. Truth doesn't matter, especially when there's a lot more money to be made by saying things that are lies and are false. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of our country has decided to do, and a lot of our leadership has decided to do, is to enrich themselves and to um, not really look out for their, not uphold their vows in terms of looking out for the common good. Um, and they want to lie, and they know how to lie and manipulate people, and they know how to do it. Okay, Trump is a master manipulator, master. Trump, people say Trump's an idiot, Trump's a buffoon, Trump's a moron. I don't believe that one bit, ladies and gentlemen. He's not. Trump is a cunning master manipulator, okay? And it's the best thing that he does is manipulate the truth to bend to his reality, and to beat people over the head with it so much that it becomes existence, okay? And he does it quite well, and he's done it to 75 million plus people in this country. And that's a fact that we need to recognize, certainly, as people on the left. You know, this is not really a fight that's necessarily worth our time. Okay, and so some of you righties, you guys get in the comments and you have all kinds of stuff to say about what I have to say. What I have to say to you is go watch Ben Shapiro, okay? I don't give a crap. Go watch Steven Crowder, or whoever the heck is the right-wing starlet nowadays. I don't care. I'm making these videos to appeal to undecided people on the left, okay? Undecided independents, non-Trump Republicans, okay? People who I'm not gonna sit here and wait and debate and you know I don't have time for it. Okay, there's no use in trying to have interfacing and have basically you know there's no point in having tension with Trump people, and having, because it's at a certain point it's like it affects me, right? And I need to I know that my time is spent best elsewhere. I'll put it that way. My time can be used to try to appeal to people that might not be decided to vote for Biden for one reason or another. And that's really what I want to do, is to encourage people to show them that we need to defeat Trump. Ultimately, we must defeat Trump, because if we do not defeat Trump in 2024, the results will be catastrophic for the United States of America, to the point that our country, as we know it and love it, will basically cease to exist in many aspects of it. There won't be anarchy and fire and people running in the streets and fire, but Trump is a lot more knowledgeable about how the government works, about how to kind of pull certain levers, I think, to keep himself in power. And that's something that really needs to be worried about, that if Trump wins re-election, we could see a total loss of our system of elections, and our system of having meaningful elections anyways, that impact the country on a national scale. And it's something that needs to be considered very much so by the left. And it's not fear-mongering. It's something that Trump explicitly says that he wants to do, is dismantle the election system and dismantle the social justice system to be what he wants it to be, okay? And to bend to his will, all right? And it's like, this is one of the things where it's like, you guys claim, oh, it's a two-tier justice system. You hear righties yelling all day long about all of the crimes that they want to prosecute the left for, but then it's also simultaneously we need to like do all kinds of like bad shit to the left and use the power of the government to like, so it's like, which you can't criticize us for it and then do it and then makes no fucking sense. Okay, you can't criticize us and then go and do it and then say that we are the bad people for doing it when you are actually the people who are doing it. I mean, I guess that's literally the definition of like gaslighting. I guess that's like literally that's what that is. So yeah, again, Trump supporters and the right wing of this country, unfortunately, is a fascist cult, and that's what I believe. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Ron DeSantis, I'll say it one more time because I think this is pretty much the last time I'm going to have to say it. I could be wrong. I might have to say it again. But he's toast. And this race is, it's starting in 12 days, but we're in a weird situation where it's already over. It's already over. Because it never started. Because there's no opposition to Trump's leadership style and his communication style and his policy. There's just none of it to be found in the right wing in any sort of significant, coalesced, organized way that is going to ultimately damage Donald Trump in a significant enough way to possibly pick off Iowa, pick off New Hampshire, pick off some of these early states and go on to maybe win the nomination. It's a pipe dream. But I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching. And it's been great to have you. Peace.